Hello? Hello?
Who is it?
Hello?
What do you want?
Someone was left behind here by the other guy that lived here.
You Charles?
Charlie, right. No, I'm not Charlie, but that's his name. That's I can't pick it up for him, see? I'm sorry about this. I mean, I didn't know if you already changed the locks or not.
Yeah, I didn't know I'd need to. You want to give me these?
Thanks. And Charlie would never forgive me. And I can't tell you how grateful I am. I'm Frank. I didn't catch your name.
I don't think I told you my name. It was like that when I found it. It's open. You want some tape or something?
No,
I
don't want to bother you.
Well, I have some packing tape.
No, really,
problem.
no, it's okay.
Look, let me just get you some packing tape. All right? I don't have any tape, but I have some twine.
I used to come by to visit Charlie.
So look, I'm going to start unpacking my stuff. Do some arranging.
Hey, Charlie. Come here. Here's a picture. This guy was like a father to me, you know. He ran a candy store over in the corner. Well, it's gone. One time, I stole something. And I was walking out the door. And he caught me. But he didn't say anything to me. He just gave me more candy. And every day after school, I'd go over there. And I'd sweep up a little and he'd give me more candy. And, what was that weird thing that's chocolate covered, you know, it had nuts in it. I don't know. He thought they tasted okay. He'd stick his chocolate covered tongue out me to prove it. But none of the other kids would like them, you know, because some would call bum, you know.
Hey!
Hey, can I do one thing before I go? Can I just take a look out that window? He used to feed him. Said he could talk to him, said he knew him by name. Winky, Felix, Richard, called him his little family.
That's really weird.
You think so? I don't think so. See, Charlie, he was alone. He didn't have anybody else. I mean, he needed something. I mean, if he was just a pigeon. And he was alone, I think you know what I mean.
These feathers all over the place.
Hey, you know, we're a lot like pigeons.
Speak for yourself.
And we eat the same food.
Like what, croutons?
We live in the same buildings. They live in pairs. We live in pairs. So, you don't have to be alone. You made this.
Yep.
Why don't you put it on?
Excuse me?
So why don't you put it on?
Because it's not ready.
It's almost ready.
Yeah.
So, why don't you put it on?
Oh, you want me to just change into it right now?
It's something important to you. I thought I'd like to see how it looks.
I don't think so. I mean, it's not ready. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Looks good.
Really? Come on.
No, I like it.
Really?
Yes, I think it looks good on you. Perfect for Charlie's funeral.
crouton?